The less you demand total fulfillment from relationships, the more you can appreciate them as a beautiful weaving together of absolute and relative, perfect and imperfect, infinite and finite. You come to appreciate more fully the simple, ordinary heroism involved in opening to another person and forging real intimacy.
True intimacy for me is when I can sit and look into the eyes of my beloved, whether it is my wife, or whether it is my guru, or whether it is my child. And I feel that deep connection without need.
We should be able to have deep connected relationships that do not always feel good, and where the other person has the opportunity to disappoint us, not do things perfectly well, because in that space is where you intimately get to know someone.
In the process of revealing who we are to them, we also reveal that to ourselves. So intimacy is not only letting someone else get to know who we are, but us getting to know ourselves.
As long as I'm engaged in profligate sex, as long as I'm out, hooking up and just having a good time, well, that may not kill me, but it prevents me from having the experience of being loved unconditionally, a love that I don't earn.
Intimacy is not of the body. And anybody who's tried to use sex as a substitute for communication rather than as an extension of communication knows that. You can't create intimacy out there. Real intimacy comes from a place where we can be authentic, and you can't get that in those outer realms.
Intimacy really comes from being willing to be totally transparent, to really be completely yourself and to be able to receive somebody else completely.
Intimacy is when you totally lose your ego in that relationship, where you feel defenseless, you have nothing to defend, no point of view to defend, where you expose your vulnerability, where you go beyond time into a timeless awareness, where you're totally natural, and where you allow. There's no manipulation, there's no control, there's no cajoling, no convincing, no seduction. Then you're intimate.
Having Catherine see me as no one had been able to see me before, completely just tore at my soul and was ripping me up inside, and more feelings and expressions came up than I was aware of, and some of them were really dark and scary and frightening, and some of them were really sexy, but I'd been seen for the first time in my life, and I don't know how prepared I was for that, but I knew there was more to this than anything I'd been involved with before.
If I really want to be intimate with you, what do? I tell you the truth about myself. I tell you about my fears, my flaws, my mistakes, my concerns. In other words, I share with you who I really am, rather than simply telling you what I want from you or what's wrong with you. That isn't going to work, is it?
When we talk about intimacy and we talk about knowing oneself, we could generally put that out there and say, oh, well, you should know yourself better. But there's a process in knowing oneself.
The moment you have in your heart this thing called love and feel the depth, the delight, the ecstasy of it, for you, the world is transformed. J. Krishnamurti.